We are gathered here to fill you with fear and give you a treat for your ears as we invade your mind with our scary rhymes and some tales that can be gory. As you bear witness and sit here and listen to our poetic horror stories.
Hello, PHS crew. We have a question for you. Did you watch Courage the Cowardly Dog Show as a kid? And was the episodes, to you, creepy or weird? Let's start a conversation in the comments below. We are dying to know.
Let us take you down a nostalgic road to a popular cartoon horror kids show from the cable channel, Cartoon Network. Today, we're driving headfirst into the bizarre and often terrifying world of Courage the Cowardly Dog. This seemingly innocent cartoon was a masterclass in unsettling imagery. It was genuinely creepy and spooky. The show was made for kids, but felt more adult with its over-the-top horrifying scenarios. I'm sure some of you are probably scarred for life due to this horror fest. Muriel Bag is a sweet, gentle, kind soul, but she is very gullible. Courage loves Muriel so much that he would do anything for her. This is why Courage always finds himself in harm's way, because Courage's love for Muriel outweighs him being afraid. He would always stand up for Muriel and place his life on the line. For her, he would live up to his name. Eustace Bag. On the other hand, Eustace also lives up to his name. He's useless. He is a cantankerous, crabby, selfish, mean-spirited, and cheap old man. And he can't stand Muriel and Courage's relationship. He is jealous. So he does everything he can to make Courage's life hell. This is why he likes to scare and trap Courage with the monsters. And in the beginning, he likes to put on his mask and scare poor Courage half to death. Eustace is just an evil old man. Courage is a scared dog with a big heart. Courage would do anything for Muriel. He would never let her be harmed. He feels like he has to do anything he can to protect their farm home. He is a very good dog. They lived in Nowhere, Kansas, in an old farmhouse, surrounded by a desolate, barren land, which seems to attract all kinds of strange, eerie, creepy monsters, ghosts, gods, aliens, and beings. This cartoon was really ahead of its time. Every episode, Courage would work up his courage, hint, his name. Courage had to be brave to rescue Eustace, and mostly Muriel, from the horrors that they would face. But which Courage episode truly stands out as the creepiest and weirdest for a kids show? We've compiled our lists we believe to be the creepiest and weirdest Courage the Cowardly Dog episodes ever made for kids. So grab your snacks, sit back and relax, and let us know, what's your favorite Courage the Cowardly Dog episode? We are dying to know. This is just a friendly reminder to please like and comment to let us know how we are doing so far. We would love to hear from you all. And if you're new, please subscribe and become a part of the PHS crew. And we thank you. Number 5. The Mask. The Mask is the weirdest episode for a kids' cartoon show. The subject matter is very adult. The episode introduces us to Kitty the cat. She wears an expressionless white mask and a white gown, like a ghost. She seems to be a shell of her former self. When she wanders onto the farmhouse, she sees Courage and she decides to beat the hell out of him. Courage was left there with all kinds of bumps and bruises. But Muriel befriends Kitty and lets her stay in the farmhouse, even though she seems to dislike Courage. But Kitty has her reasons why she feels this way. Kitty has a dark secret that she doesn't want anyone to know. Because Kitty ran off and left her girlfriend Bunny with the sadistic, abusive, controlling, crazy Mad Dog, Bunny's boyfriend. They are in a love triangle. Mad Dog is the antagonist in this episode. He's a real bad boy. And this is why Kitty keeps beating up Courage, because he's a dog. And to her, all dogs are the same. This is why Kitty wears the mask, to hide herself from her situation, to hide her face, her pain, and her shame. So she doesn't have to face reality. Kitty is broken, traumatized, depressed, and unhappy, being separated from her true love, Bunny. But like in every episode, Courage steps up and helps Bunny to escape. He helps her run away. But Mad Dog wouldn't give up easily. So he and his goons give chase. But in the end, Mad Dog got what he deserves. Kitty and Bunny are reunited again, riding into the sunset on a train. Kitty now knows not all dogs are bad. Number 4. The Queen of the Black Puddle. The Queen of the Black Puddle is the creepiest and weirdest cartoon for kids. You'll see what I mean in a minute. This episode opens with Muriel rocking in her chair with Courage on her lap, and Eustace reading the Nowhere newspaper. Suddenly Eustace jump scares Courage, making poor Courage jump up and flee out of the door onto the farmhouse porch. Off screen, you hear Muriel hit Eustace for scaring Courage. It's raining, but the rain stops, leaving behind a black puddle. Courage notices that the puddle is bubbling, which makes him investigate. That's when Courage notices a woman's face. This makes Courage shake and scared. He quickly runs back into the house. He tries to tell Muriel what he saw, but Muriel dismisses him and tells him he must have seen a fish in the puddle. This is when the Queen of the Black Puddle makes herself known to Eustace. She shows up in his tea. She shows up in a drip. She even shows up while he is taking his bath. She keeps calling for him. She tries to seduce him. Even though he is a married man, she just keeps trying to entice Eustace to leave Muriel and to follow her to her world. Every time she shows up and calls out Eustace's name, she sends him into a mesmerizing haze. Till one day, she comes into the farmhouse, while Muriel and Eustace are asleep in their bed, and she picks up Eustace and takes him back to her lair through the puddle. Courage that night witnessed this as the Queen took away Eustace. Courage was scared stiff. He didn't move from the window until the morning. When Courage went downstairs, he saw Muriel. She was crying, upset that Eustace was now gone. At first, Courage could care less that the Queen had Eustace, but Muriel was crying so hard. Courage couldn't ignore her sobs from her broken heart. So Courage decided to save Eustace from the Queen and bring him back home to Muriel. Courage entered into the puddle locating the Queen's castle. Once Courage passed through the gate, all Courage could see was nothing but skeleton bones. It was a graveyard. Courage swam to the Queen's bedroom window, and on a clam-shaped bed was Eustace. And the Queen of the Black Puddle was dancing sexy, shaking her hips in front of him. Courage was taken aback. Then he realized she was transforming into a man-eating monster. She was about to attack. Courage quickly came up with a fishing pole and pulled Eustace out before the Queen could eat him. The Queen was pissed with Courage. He had taken away her meal. She chased Courage and Eustace all over the place, and they almost escaped. But he made it back into the puddle too late. The sun had dried the puddle up. Suddenly Courage saw another puddle. It was from Muriel's tears. So Courage and Eustace exit through them. Courage hurriedly pulled out a hairdryer and dried up the puddle completely. Now the Queen couldn't come back after Eustace. Now Muriel was happy, but she still hit Eustace on his head for leaving her for another woman. The episode ends with Courage now in the bath, and suddenly the Queen of the Black Puddle returns, but in dog form. Number 3. The Demon in the Mattress. The Demon in the Mattress is extremely creepy and scary. You can tell they based this episode off the movie, The Exorcist. This episode starts with Muriel sitting up in a lumpy, bumpy bed. Muriel looks upset, but Eustace is fast asleep, snoring. Muriel exclaimed to Eustace she had it and she wants a new mattress. The next day, Eustace is reading Nowhere newspaper when he sees an ad for a mattress. Muriel calls the mattress company, and the voice on the other end of the line sounds scary and creepy. The creepy voice asks Muriel, "Are you ready to change your life forever?" Muriel agrees, but Courage believes this sounds too good to be true. He goes into the next room and eavesdrops on Muriel's phone call. The creepy voice over the phone tells Muriel that they have a special on their deluxe life-changing mattress. The voice says the mattress is soft, smooth, there's no lumps, and they send it right over. Muriel is about to give them her address when the creepy voice tells her, "We already know it. We've been waiting for you." Courage screams out no. Then Muriel hangs up the phone. Courage begs and pleads with Muriel not to let them send the mattress to their home. But Muriel tells Courage she always wanted a new mattress, and she pets him on the head. Suddenly, you see 2 creepy-looking rats run to a back room, and you hear a big door open. And in a few seconds later, the 2 creepy rats come back with a brand new mattress. You never see where they retrieved the mattress. I speculate they got it from hell. The 2 rats bring the mattress by horse and carriage. They pass Eustace and Muriel's old mattress, now in the trash. The horse and carriage pull up right to the farmhouse door. The 2 rats bring the mattress into the farmhouse. Eustace asleep in his chair, drooling and snoring, when they bring in the mattress. Courage runs by Eustace and up the stairs to find Muriel sitting and bouncing on the new mattress. Courage tries his best to pull Muriel off the bed, but Muriel smacks Courage. Courage looks surprised. She looked pissed at Courage that he was trying to pull her away from her newfound love. But little does anyone know, Muriel's possession has already begun. Muriel then tells Courage she is going to take a nap on her new mattress. Then she puts Courage out of the room and slams the door. Suddenly, Courage digs a big hole where he buried a ladder. He needed to see what was going on with Muriel. Courage climbs up the ladder and peers into the window. Muriel is fast asleep. But suddenly, green smoky tendrils seep out from under the mattress. It goes up Muriel's nose, taking over Muriel's body and soul. Suddenly, Muriel starts to levitate and hover over the bed. Courage is shocked by what he just saw, and he falls off the ladder. He quickly ran to wake Eustace. Courage tries to explain Muriel is possessed, but Eustace is not listening. He goes back to reading his newspaper again. Courage picks up Eustace, carrying him upstairs. Courage quickly opens the door, but this is when we see Muriel isn't her normal self anymore. Her hair is orange, and her skin is green. She really looked menacing and scary. Suddenly, Muriel's head turned backwards, and it falls off. She then asks Courage and Eustace to give her a hand, like it was a funny joke. Eustace and Courage don't know what they should do. Eustace forced Courage to go back upstairs to check on Muriel. When Courage opened the bedroom door, the room was glowing green, and it was freezing cold. Muriel suddenly calls out to Courage to come closer. Then Muriel jump-scared Courage with the tea set. She pulls from under her covers. At this point, Courage couldn't take it anymore. Courage goes to the attic to his computer and searches for instructions for an exorcism. Courage gives the instructions to Eustace to perform. Courage also gives Eustace Muriel's bonnet, slippers, and gown. Then Eustace starts to practice the incantation.
Hullabaloo and howdy-do, musty prawns and Timbuktu. Yeltsi-bye and hippity-poo, kick 'em in the dishpan, hoo-hoo-hoo.
Eustace goes back to the bedroom to perform the exorcism, but he can't complete it because he is too scared. Muriel laughs at him and makes fun of Eustace. Then she licks Eustace with a big purple tongue and spews green bile all over Eustace's face and body. Courage now knows he has no choice but to take Eustace's place. Courage now has on the bonnet, slippers, and gown. He is ready for the showdown. Courage starts the cheery incantation, and at first it looks as if it didn't work. But it did, and the demon quickly exited Muriel. The demon lingered, a green mist in the air. The exorcism was successful, until Eustace walked back in. The green mist went into him. Now he's possessed. But Muriel and Courage had enough, so they wrapped Eustace and the mattress up. Muriel called the company and had them come to take their mattress away, with Eustace still wrapped up inside of it. In the end, Muriel and Courage slept on the couch without a second thought of Eustace.
It's surreal. How did I get here? I'm not sure. But I'm an animator. I draw cartoons for a living. It's my job. I was working late a few nights ago. I was really tired and was about to go home. But I fell asleep at my desk. When I woke up, I was here, in Cartoon Land.
Number 2. Freaky Fred. Freaky Fred is on our list because it is really creepy, and we love Fred poetry about his love for cutting off hair. Fred's episode starts with him traveling on a bus. He is traveling to nowhere. He is talking to the viewers in his head, telling us he has been naughty. He let us know that he is coming to see his Aunt Muriel. Muriel is excited to see Fred, but Eustace isn't. We see Eustace is changing the locks on the front door. Eustace tells Courage he doesn't want Fred in his house. This is why he's changing the locks to keep him out. Eustace tells Courage that Fred is a freaky barber, and he does freaky barber things. Courage looks really scared. Courage is afraid of Fred before he even makes it there, thanks to Eustace. Courage starts to imagine Fred as a monster, Then the doorbell rings. Muriel asks Fred why he came to visit them. He told her, holiday. Muriel tells Courage to come and meet Fred. That's when Fred noticed Courage. Fred looks excited to see Courage's fur, which makes Fred feel naughty. Courage anxiously sat down next to Fred on the couch. Courage is sweating. His teeth are chattering. He looks scared and nervous. Eustace comes down the stairs saying going to the hardware store. He needs to fix the bathroom door. It keeps getting stuck. But Muriel tells Eustace Fred is there and he should stay and say hello. Eustace sits down with Fred and calls him a freak. That's when Courage notices Fred's home for Freaky Barber's wristband ID. Muriel asks Fred if he would like to freshen up, and she tells Courage to take Fred to the bathroom up the stairs. Courage starts to protest, but Muriel persists, and Courage gives in. Muriel tells Eustace to give Fred bath towels, but Eustace instead gives the towels to Courage. And then he slammed the bathroom door, locking Fred and Courage in. Muriel tells Eustace, I heard the door slam, and Eustace repeats, the door slammed, like he had nothing to do with it. Now this is when the horrors of Courage really begins. Eustace leaves pretending to go to the hardware store, while Muriel tells Fred and Courage that Eustace will be back soon to open the door. This is when Fred knows for sure he can be as naughty as he wants. Fred starts to reminisce about how he felt about hair, and the first time he was naughty. He tells Courage about his fuzzy, furry pet, as he prepares Courage to shave off all of his hair. He told Courage he couldn't help himself. He shaved off all of his fur. He was naughty. Then Fred told Courage about Barbara, a girl he loved. She had a head full of long, beautiful curls. Though he loved her, he could not help but be naughty and shaved her head completely bald. They show Fred as he is shaving off some of Courage's fur. Then Fred moved on to talk about a man that came to his barbershop with a bushy beard and bushy hair. The man told Fred he only wanted a trim, but Fred couldn't contain his excitement, and he was naughty again. As he tells his story, he has almost shaved off all of Courage's fur, but Courage was finally able to grab the ID, and he called the home for Freaky Barbers and reported Fred's whereabouts. Finally, the police surrounded the farmhouse, broke down the bathroom door, straitjacketed Fred, and escorted him out. They took Fred back to the home for Freaky Barbers, but Fred left a message on Courage that read, "With love, Fred." Number 1. King Ramses' Curse. King Ramses' Curse is one of Courage the Cowardly Dog's creepiest and scariest episodes, hands down. Ramses really stood out due to the 3D animation of the character. He scared the hell out of us when we were kids. The episode opens with 2 cats being chased by a helicopter with a spotlight. As they drive on a windy road at night, they decided to stop and dig a hole by a water pump to bury something that was glowing, as the helicopter searches for them. But before they could leave, a menacing shadow was in front of their car, telling them to return the slab or suffer his curse. The 2 cat robbers say, "What curse?" And out of nowhere a swarm of locusts cover their car, eating it and them. And this took place right in front of the farmhouse. In the morning, Courage finds the hole next to the water pump that held the slab. Courage brings the slab back to the house. He gives it to Muriel. She shows it to Eustace, who deems it garbage and throws it out. That is, until Eustace sees on the news that the slab is worth $1 million. Muriel wants to give back the slab that was stolen, but Eustace doesn't care. He wants the money for it so he can be a millionaire, which now activates Ramses' curse. Eustace ran an ad in the Nowhere newspaper looking for someone to buy the slab from him. A professor comes to retrieve the slab, but Eustace refuses to give it back if he doesn't pay him for it. Later that night, King Ramses shows up at their door, demanding Eustace return the slab or suffer his curse. Eustace asks him what his offer is. Ramses tells Eustace he will be visited by 3 plagues, each worse than the last, if he doesn't return the slab. But Eustace doesn't believe him. He thinks it is the professor trying to trick him. Suddenly, it started to rain inside their home. Muriel asks Courage if he left the tub running. Their home quickly starts to flood, filling the farmhouse up with water. Muriel, Eustace, and Courage quickly moved to higher ground, into their attic. But the water kept rising. Courage swam down into the basement, where he pulled the drainage plug. Ramses once again tells Eustace to return the slab. But Eustace asks Ramses what's his offer. He still doesn't want to give it back. The next plague Ramses releases is a song about Ramses, looping on repeat, loudly. Courage runs out the house. He looks all over for the record player. He finally finds it behind a big rock. He quickly begins to smash it and take it out. Ramses was disappointed, but he wasn't done just yet. He had one more plague left: the man-eating locusts. The swarm quickly moved in, eating everything in their path. The locusts surrounded the farm in a circle, as Muriel screamed, running about. Courage was trying to take the slab from Eustace's hands, but Eustace wasn't giving in. The locusts started to eat the farmhouse, as Ramses kept repeating, "Return the slab," over and over again. Finally, Eustace gave in, and Courage threw the slab out of the window. It went flying through the air, but Eustace went after the slab, trying to take it back. Suddenly, Ramses was standing there next to Eustace. Eustace thought Ramses had no more plagues. Eustace thought he had the upper hand. But that was when the locusts came back, and they attacked Eustace as he screamed. The next morning, Muriel is sitting in a rocking chair, with Courage in her lap, and you can see most of the farmhouse was eaten by the locusts. On the TV, the professor reported that Ramses' slab was returned back to Ramses' crypt. Then Muriel asks, "Where is Eustace?" The camera pans in and shows Eustace is now a part of the slab. These are our 5 creepiest and weirdest Courage the Cowardly Dog episodes. Tell us what you think are the creepiest or weirdest Courage the Cowardly Dog episodes you watched when you were a kid. Let's start a conversation in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.